Hey everyone, Tyler the Rustic Nerd Dad here, and today we're finally going to be reviewing and comparing 4 Wolverine masks, all of them based off of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So let's just get right on to it. First one being the Marvel Legends Wolverine mask. Um, I actually was given this to me for my birthday from my mom, so thanks, Mom. We got it through Amazon. So it shipped very quick. It was within a couple days. Of course, if you're familiar with Prime, get stuff fairly quick. And it was shipped very well. And it was just over, I think at the time it was around like 150 bucks. So, and you can get them on sale. But anyways, this has extremely nice detail. It's already pre-painted. It's got the mesh look in the eyes, even though it isn't actually mesh. It's just a smooth surface with it printed on. Hopefully you don't hear my cat meowing in the background there. He's just craving attention. Um, it's nice because these cheek parts are actually removable. I'm not doing in-depth reviews on all these. I'm just going to be kind of covering the basics. Personally, when I display it, I take the cheek parts off because then it looks more like the end scene from Deadpool and Wolverine. And eventually I do plan on doing more painting on this. A nice pro is, as you can see, it's got the nice texture, and it is quite accurate. Now, sizing though, okay? So I'm somebody with a 22.5-inch head, which is below average. Average is usually 23, 23.5. But I'll show you what this looks like on somebody that's got a head size like me. So got some hat head going on. It does come with a basic pad, which you'd think, oh, it'd make a difference. It's still quite big, lots of space. Like I can move this puppy back and forth. So not great for somebody with a small head. Honestly, I feel like somebody with a 23.5-inch head would probably be reasonably comfortable as is, and not have to do too much work with it. Whereas for me, even when if I get padding situated, there's still going to be like a huge gap in the cheek area, which is where I would have to end up like forming the cheeks to my face a bit more. And even then, um, it's still going to look, in my opinion, a little wonky just because I have such a small jaw. I do have this foam that I've been using for years out of a hockey helmet. I use it for most of my Batman cowls, and anything that's usually too big. So I'll throw that in there just to see what kind of effect that may or may not have. I got rid of a little bit of the wobbliness. Sits a lot better. And actually, the cheeks are sitting a wee bit better. I mean, they look a little bit long again because of my jaw. A little bit of reshaping would fix that. But to me, it still looks pretty large on my small head. But still works out. Really, really good option. Again, you can get this between 100 and 150 bucks from Amazon or GameStop, I think. It's listed in multiple locations. But a good option. Again, I have technically I have a 22-inch head. Most masks I get, I try to make sure are 22.5 because that's what fits best. But I just put this with the already original padding inside. I just put this in the back, and I put a little bit of an angle to it, pushing it. So it's basically what's going to happen is my head's going to sit like right in here. And then voila, it already sits a butt ton better. And that's again due to lifting. It's lifting it up, but also filling more of that backspace Of course, with a little bit more time, as you can see, I literally just threw it in real quick, but it makes a difference. So that's option one. Again, it's already pre-painted for you. But a big pain is that the eyes will fog up. So I'd highly recommend swapping that out for like an actual like a real mesh. But anyways, yes, that's the Marvel Legends one. Then we will move on to the first of the 3D prints. So I've got two 3D prints that I'll be showing you. So this one's the VEC 3D. Very beautiful file. This was printed on, both 3D prints were printed on my Creality X1. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I just recently got it. I've been printing on it like crazy and I didn't even really pay attention to the name. But anyways, it's one of the Creality, one of the new printers. Or excuse me, it's the K1 Max. Oof. But anyway, it was printed on the K1 Max. I didn't print the white eyes because I didn't have any white filament on hand. As you can see with this particular yellow, you can see the magnets on the front. Not a big deal. I mean, if you're really wanting to make it look screen accurate, you'd be detailing and stuff like this anyway. So personally, I would go over it with a yellow anyway. But anyways, as you can see, it's got the texture in the file, which is nice. So I'd go along with the screen accurate suit if you wanted to do that. One of the things that is nice is you can change the jaw out from the full jaw to the just sideburn pieces. Which I've got sitting up here. So we've got the full jaw and just strictly sideburns. I do like the jaw piece more personally, just because I feel like it helps things sit better. Also, just so you know, when it comes to the scaling, I did not scale the file, so I just did as is. So as you can see, there's a little bit of space. This might be good as is for a 23-inch head. That being said, if you're printing, I highly recommend scaling your mask files to you personally. A big caveat to, and it seems like most Wolverine Mask files are this way, there's magnets here. If you talk, if this is actually snug to your jaw, as it should be, if you talk, it's likely going to knock this jaw piece out. So what I've been recommending to people when I'm talking to them online is adding some, not Velcro, an elastic strap on the inside. So it still has the magnet. So you have your elastic strap and then some Velcro. So it's still connecting. Oh, yeah, it's still connecting wherever it wants to go there. It's still connecting with the magnets, but then that elastic strap allows for more movement. I have no idea where that's sitting. There we go. So that way, if you talk and it loosens, you don't have to worry about the whole jaw just dropping out. Now, if you're just using the sideburn pieces, you don't have to worry about that as much. But personally, like I said, I like the full jaw because to me personally, once you have it all together, it gives it a cleaner finished look. Now, the only issue I've been having with this particular file is how front heavy this is. I mean, it is nice. It is technically screen accurate to a degree on how the mask fits together, because on the the screen version, the screen use version, it does kind of come off there, and then there's like an attachment system. However, the magnets aren't, and it could just be these particular magnets. It could be just the weight of everything, but it's not, I don't fully trust it. I have had the front fall off a couple times, which kind of sucks. So personally, what I am going to consider doing with a future print is, instead of having these three magnets in the middle at the top, I'm going to remove that and then create more like a screen accurate. It's kind of like a J shape that like you go in at an angle like this, and then it locks in like that, so that when there's pressure going forward, it's pulling on the inside and keeping it in place. So I'll have that plus the side magnets, so it'll have a lot more going for it, because I really do love this file's the way the file looks. It's very, very beautiful, very accurate. This one's the Vec 3D one, and it's really cheap and it's very easy to print. I mean, when it comes to material wise, I have maybe like $6 or $7, if that, in PLA in this, between all the jaw pieces, and that'll also be including the white eyes. So it's really not a lot. It just, you know, um, flipping between filaments. Now, one thing that would be nice, which I don't have yet, is if you have a multicolor printer that's big enough, you could probably print this in one piece, so that everything's pre-fused together, which would be great. And same goes for, potentially, depending on how you want it situated, the jaw and the top part. But again, that's just a lot of hypothetical, depending on what kind of printer you have. Mine's just a single color, so I swap the colors out. So all in all, not including the printer itself, file and filament, I have probably between $20 and $25, I think, in this. I honestly can't remember how much I paid for the Vec 3D file at the time. I don't think it was a whole lot. I think I got it on sale. So yeah, we'll say even high end, we'll say $30 all in all for this one as is right now. No finishing, and as you can see, it's a little bit big on my 22-inch head. So I'd say 23-inch would be quite comfortable as is on this one. Okay, so moving on. And again, if you have any particular questions, anything specific you want to know, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I can always try to address it in another video or just reply to you. All right, so this one is from Jordan's Ironic Armory. This is cast in Task 16, I believe it is. And it is a full head, including the jaw, pre-painted, highly detailed, has the screen accurate texture as well. Jordan also offers the neck piece, the neck seal, as well as gauntlets, shoulders, and you can get them custom made, and it actually has resin printed mesh lenses in there, which is nice. So pretty much when you get it, it's good to go, asterisk, depending on what head size you have. So again, I usually get stuff for a 22.5-inch head. This is suggested for up to 24-inch head. So tons of room on my little head. Back and forth. I can probably, yep, pretty much completely spin this puppy around on my head, and it didn't disconnect. It is quite large. But again, if I take my trusty old piece of hockey helmet foam that I have and I've used for my Batman stuff for ages. Set that in. So with this one, because it doesn't have pre-existing padding, I'm changing the direction of how it's sitting. So that way it's creating both more on the top of my head and the back at the same time. Just to kind of give people a general idea of how I do stuff like this. So again, this isn't perfect. This is just to show you kind of a quick idea. So already it's sitting a lot better. Now, granted, it's still loose. Again, I haven't modified this in any way, shape, or form, but it's already 10 times better, right? And look how beautiful this thing is, right? And you can get this ordered custom, like in custom colors. The most level of finishing you would have to do is potentially padding, depending on the size of the head you have. Now, I was really surprised and enjoyed the fact that, and I'm actually going to show this. So I'll take the VEC 3D, for example. The VEC 3D only goes to here, like it doesn't actually, you can see there's like an ear pocket. Now, granted, you can purchase the print. I can't remember who the maker is, but they have a modified version of the VEC 3D that includes a lower back part of the head, very much like this. See how it goes here and then it completely covers my ears? If you're printing it yourself, you're not going to get that with the VEC 3D file. You would have to purchase, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong if you happen to know, but you'd have to purchase the print from somebody else. So as a personal maker, doesn't quite help you. But again, if you've got the balaclava that goes underneath, it may or may not matter. But what is nice is it creates more of that head shape, proper head shape behind your head. So, I mean, even then with this spacing that you see here, a lot of that would end up getting hidden from the balaclava, which is nice. Again, these are mesh, so they're vented. They're not going to fog up. I can see extremely well out of it. Now you're probably wondering, well, how much? I'm pretty sure mine was around $350. Turnaround time was a little on the longer side. Um, Granted, Jordan was inundated with orders, which does happen with niche makers like this. But one thing that is a big plus to Jordan with Jordan's Ironic Armory is communication. At least in my experience, you reach out, he answers within a very reasonable amount of time, and he'll get you your order. And he's very open to customizations and projects. He's also the one that did my personal Captain Canada helmet that I absolutely adore. And I still, even though I'm going to be making some of my, like I'm straight up admitting, I'm going to be making some of my own Wolverine masks. Again, I'm still planning on buying another one of these from Jordan just because I just love it. Personal preference. And I know it's expensive, but I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm paying for. And another bonus is I can literally drop this on the ground and she's not going to break. I don't have to worry about it breaking. Straight up 3D print. They're hard. You know, they have a high potential of breaking. And even with the Marvel Legends version, I would be concerned about it's very heavy. This one is not. I'd be concerned about this interior hard shell breaking or something like that. This, with it being Task 16 rubber, that's just not going to happen. I'll hold a lot of these side by side here shortly to give you guys more of a comparison. So anyways, again, this is the Jordan's Ironic Armory Wolverine cowl. All right, so last but not least for the 3D prints, we've got the Do 3D version. Now, I will give Do 3D that they have done a great job updating this file. They do have a track record of coming out with a file and then they just kind of leave it, whether it's accurate or not. But the Wolverine one, I did witness them upgrade over time. They did multiple variations. And I'm actually very happy with this final one that they ended up coming out with. For the exception of, I wish that they had come out with one similar to VEC 3Ds, where it had that front plate that came off, but had that attachment system. Whether VEC or Do 3D does that in the future, man, that'd be just the icing on top for a lot of these. So again, it's got the texture, much like the screen printed suit. All four of the ones that I've showed you have that. A big plus is this actually has that back plate like the Jordan Ironics Armory mask, so it has a more complete look to it, which is nice. So that's going to be, and again, as a printer, somebody that's doing this themselves, that is a big plus. Now, did I attach? No. So I attached mine. So it's like this. Okay. So I left the front plate on, so it's more similar like the film, like at the you see at the end of the film. But it's easy just to put on. So again, as you can see, that's sitting pretty good. We'll go ahead and get the back plate on, or at least try to. If I remember correctly, the jaw has a couple different sizing options. I think I went with the standard one. I think there's like a standard, a large, and a small. I'm pretty sure this was the standard. It's either the standard or the small, but again, there's multiple options. But again, with me as a 22.5-inch, well, 22-inch head, usually get stuff that scaled to 22.5. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of wiggle room, which I can stop with a little bit of padding. In this case, I will likely use just some of these, which you would see in like you'd wear in like a cowboy hat to fill some of the space. I'll just get a couple more of these and put them inside. But as is, pretty darn good actually. Quite surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be this level of good. Not to trash Do 3D, because I do have tons of their files that I've purchased, but I've printed the VEC 3D one, I think 4 if not 5 times now for different projects or just tests, and I was absolutely in love with the VEC 3D one. Here's not perfect. On my next go around, I would definitely clean this up a bit better. I'm just trying to show you guys like as is. I was very pleasantly surprised. And I do honestly think it does kind of give VEC 3D a run for their money. The only thing, and I'll hold it up so you can see, is the VEC 3D is a little bit cleaner. It's kind of hard to show. But when it comes to screen accuracy, I think the nose shape in here, how it flows up, is more screen accurate. That's just personal opinion. At least that's what I think. So again, kind of show you guys, try to show you. a bit of comparison here. But again, like just to be able to throw this on my head, very, very impressed. So yeah, and I can even get that off of my head without taking that back plate off. So again, if you've got a small head like me, this do 3D is quite nice. So try to do some comparison here. So this is the do 3D, Vec 3D. Of course, my hand's in the way. All right. Of course, this looks like it's dipping in the back a bit more, but that's because this one is making sure that bottom is there to cover the ears, right? And I was able to get these both done within a day each, which was really, really cool. For magnets, I just use 1mm by 8mm magnets. A lot of the times it's suggested to use 2mm. I don't choose 2, just in case you run into complications and the magnet is kind of like protruding a little more than it should. 1mm. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I thought that might be my issue here, but it's not. That would actually create more of a problem because it would have been pushing that out. That's just a personal thing that I ran into. Others may not have. But yeah, do 3D, back 3D. Okay. And again, this is completely opinion based. So it's not me going, you're wrong if you prefer one over the other. It's, this is just what I think. Okay. So then we've got Marvel Legends and Jordan's Ironic Armory. You can pretty well see like the size difference here. Oh, that's one thing that is nice. So the kind of honeycomb here on the side, that's just painted on. That's just like sprayed on. And there are like casting defects on the mask, which was really surprising to see from the Marvel Legends mask, um, especially with how it was like constructed. Very, very interesting piece. Um, but yeah, I'm also surprised that they cut off kind of like what Vec did, except they also included part of the ear. It was very strange to me. I'm surprised they didn't go like the full back, which would have made sense, but they did not. Which tells me, makes me wonder like if they were going for more of like the end of the film look, or at least give people the option to just be able to display it like that. I don't know. But yeah, so again, on this side, it's printed with the Jordan's Ironic Armory. You may not be able to tell, but that honeycomb in there isn't just painted on. It's actually part of the cast. So that's a big, big plus to me, because it's not like how it's just going to rub off. So kind of side by side, try to show back here. But yeah, and then I'll compare these two side by side, just so you guys see. No, it's not like the best comparison in the world, but kind of working with what I got here. I said I would do this video. It's already going longer than I had initially planned anyway. But yeah, so yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what your favorite is, what your kind of go-to is, what modifications you like to make, or what kind of modifications you'd like to see. There's a few things I'll be doing. I'll be reprinting a couple of those in different colors. Um, and I'll be reprinting some claws as well and looking at different claw files just for some of the projects I have going on, which I may or may not do a comparison video on, maybe material wise, just to show pros, cons. That's a big if. But yeah, so that is the 4 Wolverine masks that I currently have based off of Deadpool and Wolverine. Um, and those are my thoughts on them. Those are the comparisons. So let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching. And be sure to keep an eye out for the next video. Anyways, bye for now.